one to his left. Completely empty backfield. Going to try to break through on 4th and 10. Trying to draw the Ascenders offside. And the rain has started to fall in Bradenton. And a delay of game. So that'll be 5 yards. It'll be 4th and 15. So 4th and 15. We'll see what Carroll City and the Chiefs trying to accomplish. And it will be Marlon Smith coming back on. Ball spotted at the 30-yard line of IMG. Fans trying to seek shelter. And Marlon Smith going back into the air, looking for the deep pass, and excellent coverage again by IMG. A little too strong. Houston Griffith coming through, so a turnover on downs. And now IMG going to try to get their heads together mentally.
Well, and in this kind of a situation with the weather being what it is, I mean, now we're seeing quite a bit of rain come down. And, of course, with the lightning delays and things like that, I think it puts Miami Carroll City actually in a slight advantage because for IMG Academy, a lot of these players aren't from Florida, and so they're not used to the heat, the humidity, and today the rain, and we're going to see if that affects what's happening here. Defense so far on the IMG side looks solid. It's offense that keeps making a lot of mistakes.
So 1st and 10 for Sitkowski. 70 yards to try and tie this game up at 7. And now Sitkowski in his 3rd attempt on offense. It's a low snap. Looked like an old fumble Ruski, and that was unintentional. And in the long snaps to both Sitkowski and Aiden Swanson right now have cost some field position for IMG.
Yeah, center, there's definitely an issue there at the center position. Another bad snap. They picked it up off the ground. I doubt that was intentional, and it continues to be an issue for IMG as they didn't really get much on that last play.
And now an encroachment penalty, so one mental mistake will benefit IMG. Carroll City jumps offside. So another 5 yards. Bring up 2nd and 4. Ball spotted at the 36 of IMG. Sitkowski, 2 receivers to each side. And that was
Sanders, the ball carrier up the middle.
Trey Sanders trying to run up off right guard. And now 3rd and a long 4 for the Ascenders to try and again break through and get a first down. Snap is low yet again. Sanders trying to run upright again. Only gets to about the 37-yard line. And that'll bring up a punting situation for IMG at 4th and 4.
I wouldn't be surprised here if we see a change at the center position just any minute now, simply because it just doesn't seem to be getting better. You think it happens once, maybe twice, and you could excuse it as just a one-off error, but there's obviously something wrong there. The snap, other than the first one being adversely high, the rest of them have been low to the ground, as we just see again.
So that bounces to Swanson, not blocked. He goes down, and it's muffed. Swanson wanting a running into the kicker penalty. Does not get it, so back in Carroll City territory. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. And this is probably about as sloppy a preseason game as you could expect from both sides of the football right now. And the 1 hour weather delay definitely not aiding that.
Well, and uneventful really as well, because typically, this late into the first quarter, we're used to seeing a lot more points on the board.
And it will be a hydration break. We will take it with them. Carroll City 7, IMG Academy 0. You're watching Ascender Football on IMG Academy TV. Welcome back, Carroll City. Back on the charge. That ball slipping out of a Chiefs receiver hands. Again, we missed the first play, a short to no gain for the Chiefs, and now that'll bring up 3rd and 10 for Carroll City. Also need to give a nice shout out to Chip McCarthy, one of IMG's managing directors. The players actually wearing his initials on their helmets. He was in a fairly severe accident recently, so Chip, we know you're watching, and our thoughts and prayers are with Chip McCarthy and his family, and can't wait to see him back on the Ascender sidelines. So on 3rd and 10, Carroll City tries to keep it on the ground and does not benefit them. That'll bring out the punting unit in just about a little more than 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
So far, the only, this is the second time the punting unit's been out, and, for Carroll City, not a very good punt the last time. I'm expecting that to be the case again this time. Hopefully, it'll kind of fire up this offense to maybe move the ball down the field. They're expecting it somewhere along the 40 to 50-yard line and, put them in a possible scoring position.
And it is Trey Sanders and Brendan Radley-Hiles awaiting the punt, and this one's going to go towards Trey Sanders. He'll field it at the IMG 49, trying to find space. A nice block by Radley-Hiles. Sanders off to the races, gets up to the 35, and a nice short field for the Ascenders.
Great run. I mean, came down the field, found, went wide, found that opening down the field, and, got some great extra yardage out of that. Again, moving them about half the distance from where the punt was and putting them, a little closer to evening the score up in this so far very low-scoring game.
And it will be Sitkowski back out. Also, Cameron Coleman in the backfield, along with TJ Pledger. Now there's a conversation on the field between the officials. They'll spot the ball back at the 35. Sitkowski in shotgun. Takes the snap. Play action across the middle. Has number 9, Cameron Coleman. And good for an Ascender first down. So Cameron Coleman
on the reception.
breaking through to get that first IMG first down. And now running a little no huddle. 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. And Sitkowski awaits the snap. He takes it, finds Pledger running up the middle, and he gets up to the 15 and falls forward to get a few more yards. Gain looked like about 6 or 7 for the Ascenders.
Much better snaps there coming out of the center. I'm sure they read the riot act on the sideline during the last Carroll City possession. We're seeing a much better accuracy on the snaps that'll hopefully get this offense back on the right track.
Now Brian Hightower in the slot. Sitkowski takes the snap. Finds Pledger again. He runs into a gang tackle, and he is stopped. And the spot is going to be to the 11-yard line. So a short gain for TJ Pledger. 2 receivers left. Pledger again tries to force his way through the line and get that first down. And they are going to signal the first down.
Well, this is what you're wondering, of course, maybe the coach is working on this particular play, or maybe taking a look at a particular player. They keep running this play over and over again, not really getting much results, but, certainly just inching them ever so closer to scoring position.
And now Sitkowski has Trey Sanders in his back left pocket. And they give it to Sanders, and the whistle blows.
This is Trey Sanders up the middle for IMG. Gets a couple of yards.
And another penalty. This one will be against Carroll City, offsides. So that will be a half the distance, bring up first and just a little under 5 for IMG to break through and score.
Well, and really, it almost seems like that might be the first penalty called on Carroll City, because it's been pretty quiet on their end of the field so far.
Now Sitkowski Back to Sanders, trying to find space, tackled behind the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be a late hit. Going towards the head of Trey Sanders while he was already down. If it's not, I'd be shocked.
Now, even in that last play, the snap not seeming all that confident, all that secure. You're not. It's all about repetition and consistency, and you're not really seeing that so far from the center on this IMG offense.
And it is a personal foul against Carroll City, a late hit. So that will bring them up to about the 3-yard line. The rain's still coming down in Bradenton. It's cooled down into the upper 70s, low 80s. Now the Ascenders waiting to iron it out. It is Sitkowski. Also has Sanders. Low snap. They try to get it to Sanders as he tries to fall forward. Unable to get through and break the plane. It'll bring up 2nd and goal.
Again, preseason game. You're seeing them execute on that same play once again. We're still seeing issues at the center position. It seems to be slowing down this offense.
Two receivers to each side. Trey Sanders to Sitkowski's right. Great snap. This one floated back corner of the end zone. That one intended for Hightower. And hearing the Carroll City coaching staff just lose it after that flag was thrown.
Well, there's a little push off there in the end zone. Not sure if we're able to catch that on the replay, but there was a little bit of a push off there, while the ball was in the air, even though it was a pretty long throw. But he got called for it even before the ball landed dead.
And it was, in fact, defensive pass interference. So now IMG going to get the ball ever so closer to the end zone. Sitkowski can probably just fall forward and get there. He is under center, and that is what he is going to try. Breaks through. Touchdown, IMG. And that was Arthur Sitkowski just taking the snap.
Bit of a muted celebration
forward, yeah.
for the IMG Ascender family out here. I'm going to take a look at that once again. If you watch closely, too, at the end over here on the bottom right, there's a little interaction there after the play.
So now the point after to tie it up. This will be Aiden Swanson's first place kick. So, again, some rust from the lack of long snaps. Snap back, hold down, kick is up. And the kick is good. So with 50 seconds remaining in the first quarter, it's IMG 7, Carroll City 7. You're watching Ascender football on IMG Academy TV.
Number 15 are deep for Carroll City on this kickoff. Swanson will kick it.
Welcome back to IMG Academy Stadium. IMG just tying the game up. I'm sure the Carroll City coaching staff is none too pleased with the amount of penalties that occurred on that last drive, as IMG was able to tie it back up at 7 apiece. Now Aiden Swanson, his second place kick of the night. First one was a touchback, and this one is going to boom and almost goes through the uprights. So it will be a touchback. Carroll City will have 1st and 10 from their 20-yard line.
Well, we see this pretty often where, IMG Academy is fortunate to have, kicker on here who actually just came, and joined the team. But, you look down the Carroll City roster, they look to use that one position, right, where they can maybe just get another man on the field. So some of the schools that they encounter throughout the season don't even have a kicker on the team, and typically it's one of the other players performing a dual role.
That is Marlon Smith back for the Chiefs. Changing up the play of the line, 2 receivers to each side. They keep it on the ground, and getting there it is yet again number 54, Teron Vincent, on many, many watch lists. Again, Ohio State Buckeye fans going to be thrilled to have him on the team next year as he gets his second tackle for loss. 2nd and 12 from the 18. Now Smith back. One man in motion's Cameron Davis. And he's going to keep it himself. Pressure coming. Gets just shy of the first down. But an excellent scramble by Marlon Smith. And a sizable gain for the Chiefs.
Well, it was a good run. I mean, again, it's all about reading, what's in front of you. Saw the opportunity, came down towards the bottom of the field and took it wide, and it proved to be productive. Really, maybe one of the bigger plays we've seen so far this game.
3rd and 4 for Marlon Smith. The ball spotted at the 26-yard line for Carroll City. Now Smith looking across the middle. And getting there just as the ball does, Andre Cisco. And that will bring up 4th down with just about 5 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think Marlon Smith there, quarterback for the Chiefs, read that situation there. And while he certainly threw it in the right direction, I think he saw that he was well defended and decided to just ground it, but at least in the right direction, so he wasn't called for it.
Trey Sanders and Brendan Radley-Hiles await the boot. And that is going to track just into IMG territory. And will roll dead to about the 43. And that will be the end of the first quarter. Tie ball game in Bradenton. IMG Academy 7, Carroll City 7. You're watching Ascender Football on IMG Academy TV.
That is the end of the first quarter. It is IMG 7 and Carroll City 7.
So you love your game? So does he. You say ain't nobody gonna work harder? He said the same thing. You get an hour of training in before the sun even comes up, plenty of early risers out there. You got the gear, they got the gear. You got a secret weapon, this dude doesn't need one. See, this isn't just a game of inches, this is a game of ounces. And the next ounce you give might just be the one the other guy doesn't. Gatorade, rehydrate, replenish, and refuel.
Welcome back to IMG Academy Stadium. Ryan Sudol and Jonathan Torres and the Ascenders offense back on the field, 1st and 10 from the IMG 44-yard line. Sidkowski keeps it himself, a little misdirection, takes a hit and falls forward. Looks like someone might have even lost a mouth guard there or an ear pad.
Great misdirection there by Sidkowski. I mean, got some great yardage on that ball. And, again, new play there. We hadn't really seen this so far this game. I think hopefully this is maybe the first sign of this offensive line finding their groove.
2nd and 1 now in Carroll City territory, their 47-yard line. Sidkowski in shotgun. And he's going to stick to the air. Fires one and just incomplete. That one intended for TJ Pledger out in the flat. Getting in hand on it was Randy Russell, but unable to bring it in.
I mean, it wasn't even close. I mean, Russell was just all over that, read it well in advance, had probably, I'd say, 1 or 2 yards between him and the guy he was defending, and that could have been very bad for the IMG Ascenders.
3rd and 1. Sitkowski sends Pledger in motion. And they hand to Noah Kane. One of these stud juniors, and a huge tackle by Randy Russell. But Noah Kane is a few yards further down and gets the first down for the Ascenders. It'll bring up 1st and 10.
Yeah, tough hit there by the Chiefs' Russell, but, Kane got great yardage on it, moved the markers, and that's what you got to do here.
3 receivers right. A little shoulder nudge by Sitkowski. He's going to keep it himself.
Ooh. Takes
a nasty hit. Got upended.
Got a few Chiefs on him on that play.
So 2nd and 4 for the Ascenders. Again, Sitkowski committed to the University of Miami.
And what's good is that after all is said and done, the lightning delays and everything, the rain has even stopped, and it's dropped about 10 degrees, which I'm sure the players are grateful for.
Now the hand to Kane, keeps his balance, falls forward, and gets just to the 30-yard line of Carroll City, and another first down, and this is the IMG offense that we're a little more accustomed to seeing.
Yeah, again, earlier I said that, that maybe some of the center issues they were having with the snaps and all that was slowing this team down. This is the pace we're used to seeing from this offensive line.
Noah Kane joins Arthur Sitkowski in the backfield. Snap is back. Looking downfield. Fakes it, keeps it. Another gain of about 5 yards for Arthur Sitkowski, so some of those edge rushes by Carroll City. Sitkowski's found some space up the middle and has been able to keep this IMG drive alive.
Again, I'm thinking that Coach Wright is definitely trying some of these plays here that he wants to test out to make sure these are going to hold up during the regular season. We see the same plays being called over and over again.
And it looks like Carroll City has called a timeout. We will take it with them. 9:37 to go. IMG 7, Carroll City 7. This is Ascender Football on IMG Academy TV.
So, you want to be the best? So does everybody else. See, it takes more than wanting it. You got to show up. And when you show up and camp here, you'll be ready to compete anywhere.
IMG Academy back on the move, trying to take a lead for the first time in this contest tonight. It'll be 2nd and 5. Ball spotted at the Carroll City 25-yard line. Sitkowski remains in at quarterback. Noah Kane on his right hip. This one, fake to Kane, looking deep downfield, has Hightower inside the 10-yard line. It's a first down, and IMG is back threatening again.
I think we're starting to see IMG figure out Carroll City's weaknesses. Again, very slow start in that first quarter. Maybe the lowest scoring first quarter we've seen in a long time from this team, and we're finally starting to see them find their rhythm again.
17 yards for Hightower. Sitkowski, 1st and goal. A low snap, tries to get it to Noah Kane. He sneaks through. Kane is able and puts IMG ahead 13-7.
Well, it was a great run. I mean, he had plenty of room. Good block there to get through that final defender. And again, you saw everybody go upfield. Kane went downfield and put an extra 6 on the board for IMG.
1st and goal. And that ball spotted at the 8. Noah Kane, who we saw averaged well over 10 yards a game in the spring game against East Ridge. And again, the snap was a little low, but still Sitkowski was able to put it in Kane's belly, and he just danced forward for the 8-yard score. Snap back, hold down, kick up, And the kick is good with 9-10 remaining in the first half. IMG 14, Carroll City 7. And we'll take a look at the replay as you see the low snap, and somehow Sitkowski was able to get that up into Noah Kane and just breaks through and takes the lead over Carroll City.
I mean, it's Vertus Brown there in the center position for IMG, and you've got to think that maybe this has been an issue, right, even in the offseason where they've been working with him on it, and they can't seem to figure out what might be working for him to get him back on the right track on these snaps, but it could prove costly in the regular season if they don't figure it out.
14-7, we'll see Aiden Swanson come back on. Already had 2 touchbacks. And this time the wind is blowing a little bit into the face of Swanson. So where we saw his 2 kicks the other direction go out of the back of the end zone, this time Carroll City might actually have a chance to return one if this one hangs up and catches some wind.
Plenty coverage in the backfield for the Chiefs, so they should have somebody that's going to run it back here.
You see that leg, that one goes off the toe a little bit. They're going to hope that bounces out of bounds, and IMG might even recover. And they do. The Ascenders on the unintended onside kick come up with the football, and that is just going to take any kind of wind out of Carroll City's sails. They were going to try to let the ball bounce out of bounds to get the illegal procedure penalty and start from the 40. Instead, it's IMG's ball in the red zone.
Well, and as I said just before the kick, I thought for sure the Chiefs were going to have an opportunity to run this back because they had guys lined up about every 10 yards. And sure enough, just a bad move there by the Chiefs, and IMG was ready to take advantage of that opportunity.
Now we see Swanson get under, and it looked like he mishit it just a little bit. And after that first bounce, it looked like it was going to go out of bounds, but IMG able to get there and recover. So 1st and 10, ball at the 18-yard line. It is Sitkowski. Another low snap, but a flag is down. And it is a false start against the Ascenders. So that'll bring it 1st and 15.
You know, going back to the keys of the game from, the start of tonight's game, winning that turnover battle. And while there were definitely mistakes in the first quarter, I mean, those are the kind of opportunities that we're used to seeing IMG take advantage of.
Now Sitkowski. 3 receivers left, 1 to the right, and he is going to call a timeout. And we will take it with him. The Ascenders 14, the Chiefs 7. 9 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the first half. This is Ascender football on IMG Academy TV. Welcome back. IMG threatening 1st and 15 from the 23-yard line. That false start will move them out of the red zone. Sitkowski in shotgun. Snap is perfect. The fake to Sanders. Low for Hightower. Will skip just under his hands. Great coverage by Zaquan Nelson. And that'll bring up 2nd and 15.
I think anybody that's watching at home and maybe walked away from their live feed for a few minutes may have thought there was another delay because, IMG is right back to where they were just a few minutes ago here. In, I would say, scoring position definitely for the Ascenders.
Also in the slot right now, that is Jalen Jordan. Hightower out wide to his left, 2 receivers out to the right of Arthur Sitkowski. And the snap, he just bobbles it. Looked like Sitkowski was able to fall on it, but that was very dangerous. And that one, Arthur Sitkowski just signified he knows that that was on him as the snap was right at his numbers. But that will bring up 3rd and long, 3rd and 22.
I mean, that could have been disastrous there. And, I mean, while it only cost them probably about 5 yards, it could have been far worse, especially against a team like Carroll City.
And now, little screen to Sanders. Cuts through, has some space. He's up to the 20, almost getting back to the original line of scrimmage, but it'll still bring up 4th and long. We'll see if head coach Kevin Wright wants to test out Aiden Swanson's field goal kicking leg, and it looks like they are going to march out number 39 to try and add 3 points and replicate the score from last year's total Carroll City game here in the first half. Annexted the holder. It's a low snap, and he just tries to send one through, and it was tipped, so it will be Carroll City ball. Again, the snap just not there for Annexted, and they weren't able to get that full range of motion for Aiden Swanson, and he just puts that one over the line of scrimmage and out through the back of the end zone. Yeah,
a lot of issues there at the center position. Bad snap there. We had number 8, Mark Carter Jr. from the Carroll City celebrating afterwards. He may have gotten a little bit of a touch on that, but certainly didn't get more than 4 or 5 feet off the ground.
So Carroll City will come back on. Macel Williams, sophomore quarterback / defensive back. And he will send Elisha Barnwell in motion. And trying to run right up the middle is not a good idea, as we have seen against this IMG team. Again, some of the best defensive ends and defensive tackles in the entire country.
I mean, you look at those guys, and they are rock solid. I mean, they are wide and they're big, and yeah, definitely not a good move unless you can match up in size.
2nd and 6. There's the shotgun snap, and now looking for the deep ball, and that's going to be intercepted by the Ascenders. And that's part of that sophomore inexperience to just throw a duck right up there.
Well, and you know, kudos again to the Ascenders for reading that opportunity there and seeing, you know, the opportunity for that interception.
And I believe that was number 12, Greg Newsom. Also sharing a number with Bryson Lucero. Greg Newsom, one of the other cornerbacks behind Brendan Radley Hiles, and puts IMG back in a scoring position from the Carroll City 44.
Definitely something you want to see from your team, where defense not having to work too hard, getting the offense back out on the field as quickly as possible. And here we got.
And now that is TJ Pleasure, the Oklahoma commit, gets a sizable gain and another first down for IMG.
Well, it's just fantastic to be able to see these guys just a few minutes ago, you know, down by the 45-yard line, now up to the 25-yard line.
Now Sitkowski takes the shotgun snap, and that time it looked like it was Pledger just losing his footing. Again, trying to follow in the same vein of some other very famous Oklahoma running backs, most notably in the NFL, Adrian Peterson.
Well, and great speed by Pledger, but also great maneuvering. I mean, you're seeing a lot of quick moves from him. Very agile, especially when you're trying to get up the middle and you're trying to find those pockets to give you that room. That's exactly what you need to see.
So now Sitkowski looking to the sideline to get a change of play. And that will be a timeout by IMG. They were going to get called for a delay of game, so they will burn their second timeout. And after that missed field goal, the interception by Greg Newsom. And they will actually not be charging IMG with a timeout. They will walk that up right through the water break. But after a couple of sloppy drives for IMG to start the game, they seem to have finally got a little bit of momentum that they can keep going into halftime.
I mean, there's still, that weakness is still there at the center position. I'm sure they're going to be working on it over and over again here after the game in the coming weeks before the start of this official season. But it seems to be a weak point there, and to the point where now it's also affecting their special teams. And that's also not a good position to be in going into the caliber of teams that IMG sees during the regular season.
Now Sidkowski, 2nd and 7. Ball on the 24-yard line. 2 receivers to his right is Cameron Coleman and Brian Hightower. And out to his left is Jalen Jordan. TJ Pledger stays in the backfield at the tailback position. Sidkowski with the shotgun snap to Pledger right up the middle, plows his way through. Falls forward for a couple.
Strong run there. Lots of Chiefs there going after Pledger, but still was able to move the ball quite a bit, keep those markers moving downfield.
3rd and 4, Pledger keeping this drive alive. Sidkowski looking for the quick snap. He gets it. Back to Pledger again, trying to dance his way through the line and quickly cut down. That will bring up 4th down. I think Sidkowski wants to keep the Ascender offense on the field as they're debating to try and add 3 points.
Well, and again, you're not crazy if you're watching this game and seeing the same play over and over again. I mean, and again, I'm assuming this is by design to make sure that these plays are going to work in the regular season and working out all the kinks.
Sidkowski from the 21 looking through, has Jalen Jordan. He catches and gets just on the other side of the 1st down marker, and the Ascenders will get a fresh set of downs and move closer to the end zone to try to extend their lead to 21-7. Now Sidkowski will break the huddle. Noah Kane joins TJ Pledger in the backfield. There's the snap. It is low. And trying to fall on it is Kane. It's probably the 4th or 5th fumbled snap that we have seen tonight from IMG.
Yeah, I mean, Vertus Brown is the center there, and again, you have to wonder why. Maybe because it's preseason, they've allowed him to stay in that position, but again, it continues to be the source of issues here for this IMG Ascender offense.
Now they will try the same play, 2nd and 21. Snap, Sidkowski picks it up and fires, has TJ Pledger getting close back to the original line of scrimmage, and there's some extracurriculars. So a nice gain for IMG as Sidkowski finds TJ Pledger. So 3rd and 12. See that real crisp delivery from Sidkowski. And very strong arm. 2 receivers right. The lone man to the left is Riker Bratherall. And now there is some movement before the snap. And that will move IMG back 5 yards.
Well, we saw, again, a little bit of interaction there between Pledger and over on the Chiefs side, number 6, Rashad Davis. And that's actually been happening since the first quarter when we saw him on the other end of the field. There was a little bit of interaction there in the end zone, and I think that's continuing to carry over. Hopefully it won't, continue to grow into anything else, but there's certainly a bit of a rivalry there developing where those two guys, just a lot of tension there.
3rd and 17 from the 22-yard line of Carroll City. Noah Kane right on Sidkowski's hip. It's a low snap. Sidkowski picks it up, trying to get into the end zone, and it is intercepted. And it is down to the 50, and he is celebrating already. It's Yasir Abdullah, and a pick 6 for Carroll City will even the game up.
Definitely have a stunned IMG Ascender team on the sidelines, on the field here, as they certainly did not expect for this interception to take place. Just maybe not sure exactly where Sikowski was looking, but threw it right to that Carroll City Chief.
And you know that celebration running downfield from Yasir Abdullah is going to resonate with that IMG offense when they come back.
Well, and this defense has actually, I think, been in really good shape as well. So you know that they're going to also come back and show that, IMG is going to be the dominant team on the field here. But you're right. I think the offense needs to prove that this is their field, this is their home turf.
So Carroll City, after the 80-plus yard interception, getting a sideline warning by the officials. They know that IMG right now is thought of as the second best team, not just in the state of Florida, in the entire country. So to be able to go toe-to-toe with them for a half, and now they're starting an overrated chant on the far sideline. And you know that is going to resonate with the Ascender defense, and that I am sure will come back to bite them.
Look, and, I've got a lot of love for the Miami Carroll City Chiefs. I grew up maybe about 15 minutes from their campus. I went just up the street to American Senior High, so we definitely had a bit of a rivalry in high school. We're going to take a look at this replay first, though.
And now Sitkowski, the snap was low. He tries to fire in the middle and just did not see Abdullah behind the referee, jumps out in front. And there you see the little gamesmanship celebration by Yasir Abdullah. But
yeah, Abdullah had just had a great read on Sikowski there. But this is a team that I think lives with that spirit of the early, late 80s University of Miami Hurricanes, a lot of that intensity and a lot of that, so that's where you see a lot of that celebration. It's just part of the culture down there. But against a team like this, you definitely don't want to celebrate too early.
So during that spring game, we saw a hook and ladder that bit the IMG defense, and then the very next play, we saw Brendan Radley Hiles run a kickoff back. So you can know number 44 and Brendan Radley Hiles, as well as Trey Sanders, are going to be looking to tag them back.
Well, and trust me, nothing would be bigger than for this Chief team to go back down to Miami, where there are so many amazing teams, and say that they beat the IMG Ascenders because, again, coming off of an undefeated season nationally, for Carroll City to come in here and beat them, even though it is a preseason game, is still a really big deal.
Radley Hiles picks it up at the 8, and just like that, there he goes. And the big Nebraska commit gets it back up to the 50 on a little bit of a direct pooch kick. And he's able to pick it up and get about 40 yards on the return and put the Ascenders right back in it.
Once he hit about that 35-yard line, you really saw him find his stride, picking up great speed. I thought he was going to break left where there was a little bit more opening, broke right, and found some Carroll City Chiefs there to take him down around the 50, but that was a great run.
42 yards officially for Brendan Radley Hiles on the return. Not just an excellent defensive back, also an excellent special teams player. And now you see the stout offensive line of IMG standing in midfield just over the Ascender logo.
And worth noting, the 52, Vertus Brown, again at the center position where they've been having issues all night.
Three receivers right, one to the left for Arthur Sitkowski. Here's the snap is low, gets to his hands, he stays on his feet, he's able to get a yard. And that one got into his hands, but it looks like he might have pulled his head up just a little bit to try and see where he was going before he actually had the ball. And again, those are some of those mental mistakes that cannot be made once we get to the regular season. starting next week.
Yeah, I mean,
IMG taking on Chandler, another top-ranked team in the country, on national television on ESPN. Sitkowski. And that one finds Noah Kane, and a very short gain. He'll get one, but a nice hit by Irshad Davis.
well, you know, and certainly joking here, but Sitkowski might have to apply for a job at Haagen-Dazs with all the scooping he's having to do of these low snaps. I mean, it's just this ball. He's been scooping it up all night off the ground. And again, I genuinely think it's affecting the speed of this game for an IMG offense that's used to playing very fast.
49 yards away, 3rd and 9 for the first. And now that one right at his face mask. Sitkowski, a beautiful pass, and just off the hands and face mask of number 88, Jalen Jordan. And that will bring up 4th and 9, and we will see a punting situation.
Yeah, I mean, not what you're used to seeing, especially from Jalen Jordan, but that was right at the numbers. Beautiful pass by Sitkowski, and unfortunately dropped to turn over the ball.
So Aiden Swanson back to punt for IMG. Gregory Great, the senior defensive back.
Sorry, I didn't mean to turn over the ball. My bad.
Now a good long snap, and they fake it. Aiden Swanson puts it deep, and IMG is off. Andre Cisco, touchdown, Ocho Cisco from 49 yards out. The fake play, Aiden Swanson's first throw of the game on a fake punt, puts Andre Cisco into the end zone, and IMG is back in the lead.
Well, you called it, Ryan. You know, this offense knew that they had to come back and prove that, you know, those mistakes aren't going to define them, and they were going to come back with a big play. You called it, and there it was.
As we take a look at the replay, Swanson didn't even pretend to punt it, just puts it over the defensive backs, and Andre Cisco off to the races, avoids one tackle, a nice block, and into the end zone. That is why they call him Ocho Cisco.
Well, and you're going to need a lot more than one defender in the backfield there to stop just about any IMG ascender.
Now Swanson, the snap back, the hold is down, the kick wasn't pretty, but it worked. With 1 minute and 57 seconds remaining in the first half, IMG 21, Carroll City 14 after the 49-yard fake touchdown pass from Aiden Swanson to Andre Cisco. And 21-14 the score. You are watching Ascender Football on IMG Academy TV. Welcome back. IMG Academy Stadium. The Ascenders just taking a 21-14 lead over the Chiefs of Carroll City. And now we will see Aiden Swanson back on to try and pin Carroll City back deep in their own territory.
You know, after a play like that last one, it's one of those that typically that would be very risky for most teams. And honestly, I've never seen a team who does those kind of trick plays with more confidence than IMG Academy.
I'll look no further than the Corona Centennial game last year where head coach Kevin Wright went for it, and they are going to say a touchback. But again, they were down, IMG 49-42, scored to get within one and went for the 2 points in the win with just seconds remaining. And that will also be another fantastic rematch for the Ascenders this year. Game ending 50-49. Again, Corona Centennial, one of the better teams in the state of California as well as in the nation. IMG, without question, has one of the toughest schedules going forward.
Well, and we also like to note that they're traveling. You know, I mean, honestly, the mileage that these guys put in every year on this football schedule is astounding.
One deep down the left side and just tracked out of bounds. That is Michelle Williams. Number 10, Legend Moore, excuse me. Marlon Smith still in at quarterback. Carroll City going to try a little no huddle to try and catch the Ascender defense off guard. Here's the snap. Now this handoff, a run up the middle, and completely stuffed. A gang tackle with Stefan Wynn right there in the middle as well. Keep them right at the line of scrimmage.
I mean, there on that block, we saw Stefan Wynn. We saw Teron Vincent. I mean, just two big dudes that, you know, I mean, they weren't going to let him get by.
Now Carroll City looking for the deep ball, tracking out, and intended for Legend Moore. Or, excuse me, that was Treyun Lane, senior wide receiver, just couldn't follow the ball out of bounds. So 3rd and long from their own 34. Carroll City needing to get a first down before IMG has an opportunity to blow this game wide open. Now the shotgun snap, pressure coming on the edges. And now the deep ball wide open and just can't keep his feet. He had his man beat. It was Alondra Strong deep in the secondary, but he couldn't keep his footing, and the throw
Just
from
long.
Marlon Smith just a little too long.
Long over his head. I mean, it was already past him. He was too far infield for that ball, and certainly even if he'd been aligned with it, would have had to pick up speed to be able to catch up with it. But we're now seeing where both teams are going to start trying to outdo each other, and again, this Carroll City team fired up, but the score is as close as it is, and wanted to go toe-to-toe with IMG.
Trey Sanders and Brandon Radley Hiles awaiting the punt. Almost blocked. And that will just bounce out of bounds on the other side of the IMG 50-yard line. So the 46 is where they will start this drive with just a little over a minute remaining in the half. 1st and 10 for the Ascenders.
Well, somebody definitely got their hand on that ball. You know, it took hard curve, you know, towards the bottom of the field, and went out of bounds there. So you're definitely seeing, you know, the defense there do their job and trying to stop that punt.
I want to thank everybody for hanging tight with us on this Friday evening on Facebook Live and YouTube. All part of IMG Academy TV through 2 weather delays that postponed us about an hour. Finally underway, about to get to half. Now Sidkowski drops back, and this time trying to show off the cannon too far. And that one intended for Brian Hightower. I believe that's going to be one of his teammates at the University of Miami.
Dangerous throw, too. You had number 7, Gregory Great, there in the end zone, not in the end zone, but certainly very close to it, as he had probably a better line on that throw than any of the IMG receivers did.
But you saw just the perfect spiral that Sidkowski launched that ball off with. A little strong, but again, one of the deeper throws we've seen him attempt so far tonight. Now got 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. 1 man in the backfield. And that is TJ Pledger cutting through, knifing through that defensive line, and good for a first down. Another 10-plus yard gain for TJ.
Oh, another great run by TJ there. I mean, he, like you said, knifing through that defense. I mean, you saw him cut up the middle and then start to break towards the top of the field, and it certainly helped him get a few more yards.
Now the quick snap back to Sidkowski into the flat. As 1 man, it's Jalen Jordan, and then he is pushed out of bounds. But IMG on the move. 43 seconds to go.
You know, where we often talk about how big some of the guys are, you actually look at somebody like Jalen Jordan, who's not big in terms of how wide he is, but he certainly is incredibly tall at 6'5", you know, and again, against the caliber of teams that they play, often towering over the person defending him.
Empty backfield for Sidkowski, pressure coming. He steps up, has room to run. Cuts across the 35 and is finally brought down. Across the 30, looks like he may have taken a shot to the head. And he is walking a little gingerly as he gets up, but a first down for IMG.
stretching a little bit there after that. It certainly seemed like a pretty tough hit. Looking like it maybe shook him up a little bit.
And it looks like they're going to keep him on the field. Again, with all of the new science surrounding head injuries, concussion protocol taken very seriously, especially at some of the youth levels. And again, we saw that hit on Sitkowski. He's got his helmet back on. And
we're seeing now where, again, a lot of these concussion issues are not only being heavily made aware of at the professional level, but even down to the youth sports, even down past high school football, because of the severity and because they do carry with them for the term of their life.
So we will see Zach Annexted, number 2 on the depth chart right now, check in with Trey Sanders in the backfield with him. Annexted, though, we saw in the spring game, was very, very capable when both quarterbacks were on the field. So we'll see what Annexted has in this last 20 seconds. Now looking, steps up, fires over to the sideline, trying to get out, and a few extracurriculars.
Yeah, right there, number 5, number 22 on the Chiefs side. Yasir Abdullah, who again had that big run, putting the last 7 points for Carroll City up on the board. Showing a little tension there with some of the IMG ascenders.
Andre Cisco was trying to get out of bounds as quick as possible, unable to. So IMG has to take their final timeout with 10 seconds remaining. So we'll probably see Zach Annexted maybe take a shot or 2 at the end zone, just enough time for 2 attempts. And now that IMG offensive line will have to give him some protection or open up a hole for a Noah Kane or a Trey Sanders.
Well, I'm not sure if we were going to see Zach Annexted tonight, but certainly when he has come on the field, he has shown really good command of the ball, good leadership of the team. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do here, as I'm sure they're checking on Sitkowski on the sidelines.
And Sitkowski already back on the field.
Well, there you go.
As is Cameron Coleman, Brian Hightower, Riker Brazeral, and Trey Sanders lined up in the slot as well. So an empty backfield for Arthur Sitkowski. Carroll City going to bring the pressure, edge rush, and that is hit. And still finding it is Riker Brazeral. Probably not enough time for another play, but impressive after that one was knocked out of his hands regardless. But a heck of a rush on Sitkowski's blind side.
I don't know that I've ever seen something like that. I mean, where the throw was literally deflected, but yet still a complete pass.
So right now they're saying there may in fact be some kind of penalty that causes another play, and that's in fact what happened. There is no time left on the clock.
I mean, splitting hairs here, the ball was on the ground with 1 second left on the clock, and that may be what they're counting here.
And they're going to say they did not get the snap off. Carroll City going to take a timeout after all of that confusion, trying to find out what in fact was going on.
With, again, 1 second left on the clock. I mean, we're so close here to being in halftime, but I think Carroll City realizes that even 20 yards out is not a position that you want to be in against this IMG offense.
Also not sure if they're going to give us an abbreviated halftime because of the 2 lightning delays that we had to sit through. So stay tuned. We'll have our halftime break shortly, wrap up some of the first half action for you. And Sitkowski will get one last shot with 1 second. There's Jalen Jordan, Cameron Coleman, also Brian Hightower. I believe that's Will Huggins on the far side as well. Now the snap to Sitkowski. Sanders providing some blocks. Looking into the end zone for Jordan. It's caught!
Oh, such a great catch.
Still waiting for the official signal. And it is caught for a touchdown. On the last play of the first half, Sitkowski puts a laser on Jalen Jordan, who gets his feet down. And that is not the way that Carroll City wanted to go in the locker room at halftime.
That's exactly what they were afraid of. And you saw the center official in the end zone call it. Of course, the head official, I guess, just wanted a little reassurance there. But it was a great pass. If you were hearing it, you heard that. You heard those pads popped as soon as that ball was caught.
And Aiden Swanson adds the point after. They're saying he missed it. So not the way that IMG necessarily wanted to go into the end zone, but let's take a look at that pass again from Sitkowski. Perfect snap and just takes a quick drop and throws into the corner, and Jalen Jordan gets his feet down, and you can see the IMG administrators going crazy. As they add 6 points before the half, they go in. They are leading 27-14, the Ascenders over the Chiefs. We will have a 15-minute break for halftime and second half action for you momentarily. You are watching Ascender football on IMG Academy TV.
What happens when the pressure builds, when victory hangs in the balance, when they say you can't, no way, give up, we rise? What happens when the muscles become weak, when the will to win is overcome by the fear of defeat? We rise because we know we have one chance, one opportunity to be great, one legacy to leave. So when victory seems impossible, we make it possible. And the body feels like it can't take it anymore. The heart says yes. The spirit says one more. There is no man too important for one team. No game too big to overcome. How bad do we want it? Well, that will be determined in the trenches, battled under the lights. We have something to prove, and we won't hold back. This is our time, our game, our home. We rise because we are IMG. What happens when the pressure builds, when victory hangs in the balance? When they say you
originally from Nigeria. The meaning of the last name is Osigwe is warrior. My warrior is somebody who, who is a leader, set good examples, never gives up.
When you're a warrior, competitive, so competitiveness is just, that's how we were raised. My dad has been competitive all his life.
When I was 12, I was playing in the West African region, a couple of ITFs tournaments, couple of challenges. At that particular time, it was survival. The most important thing for me was using tennis to get out of this uncomfortable situation.
My dad coming to US, he kind of came in playing. He was a tennis player. He's always told me stories about how when he was like 12 years old, he had to travel by himself, and not a lot of people can do that, especially at the age of 12. Coming from nothing, then trying to make it by yourself it's really tough. But it's also very inspiring for me just to know that my dad has been through so much. So it just kind of pushes me. So that's just something he just taught us. So all three of us have just always grown up being competitive. We don't like to lose.
Looking at when he was younger, studying tennis, I think actually he helped Whitney to get better because they play every day and fight.
I came out on the clay courts in the back when I was younger, and I didn't really wear tennis clothes. I wore jeans and boots to play, but I played with my brother back when he did play tennis, and we would always argue about the score because one of us would cheat. So, I mean, he comes over and watches for a bit sometimes, but when I'm on a changeover, he just talks about how he's so much better than me and he can beat me and stuff, but that's obviously not true. I'm just starting out in the pros, so I want to get a higher ranking there and play some top players and do pretty decent against them. And also this year, one of my big goals is to finish juniors #1.
I told my dad, my mom, my brother, my sister, even my whole group that I played with. I want to be #1 in the world for pro.
If there's one person I want to be in front of me, it's her, so.
They are very competitive in their sports, but they look out for each other. Victoria sat on the bench, watching Whitney develop, at the same time cheering for her. So, I would say she's lucky she have a big sister to follow her footsteps.
I honestly think she listens to me more than she listens to my dad. So I just repeat what he says back to her, and I give her some advice from how I feel being a daughter and student and an athlete still on court as well. I just have to remember that there's always whatever I do wrong, she's going to do wrong too. So I have to just try and do what I can to be good at it, so I know that she can do the same.
It's good because I would learn stuff from them to do in my game, like to have a good attitude and how to hit the ball and on the footwork and what to say to yourself, all those things.
I'm a tough coach and a tough father. It's good to be tough, but at the same time, I think you have to balance it. Me being a coach is to teach the game of tennis, and me being a father is to teach the morals. So when you combine both together, I think it's chemistry.
Yeah, it's great. He's always available, and he understands me better than anybody else can, and I feel more comfortable with him than I ever would with anybody else. So, I mean, obviously at home he's a dad, and on the court he's a coach, so the fact that he can play both roles is really great. Heading into the French Open, I practiced a lot, played a lot of matches.
I was coaching a lot. I was coaching over the phone. I woke up every morning almost about 4 a.m.
And it was more mental, like calm your nerves, stay positive, do your routines, but tactical-wise, it's just play your game and do what you usually do.
When she got to the finals, we kind of went back to our playbook, and then we knew she was going to win it.
It was actually my 5th match point, so I was going big, and I ended up making the big shot. But at the end, I was super happy, but I was really tired, so I just wanted to sit down. Tennis, you have to find ways to do things on a bad day, on a good day, so it's definitely important to find ways in life, and that not everything's going to be perfect, but you have to find a way around it. It's definitely a goal to exceed past what he's done, and I think I'm on the right path to it. But yeah, he has experience that he always brings to me, so it's helping.
It's a family-oriented place. I mean, you guys can see it speak for itself. Everybody here is loving and caring. My job is to help my kids succeed, and I will not be able to do this without my wife, Jessica. She does a lot behind closed doors, and as a matter of fact, she does more than I do. And if I can come with 0 and raise my kids to be in this level, I think it speaks for itself. Everybody have the opportunity to learn from their elders. The journey that I have taken, either good or bad, I've passed it to my kids, and then I'm sure that wisdom is going to stay in them. My job is to help them succeed, and I think I'm doing my job.
You love your game? So does he. You say ain't nobody gonna work harder? He said the same thing. You get an hour of training in before the sun even comes up? Plenty of early risers out there. You got the gear? They got the gear. You got a secret weapon? This doesn't need one. See, this isn't just a game of inches. This is a game of ounces. And the next ounce you give might just be the one the other guy doesn't. Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, and refuel.
So I started picking up golf when I was 6. First, I started playing golf because I see my dad play golf, so I just want to spend more time with him. And then my mom started playing golf too, so we as a family get to play and spend time during the weekend. Like the first 2 years I played so bad, but then I keep playing better and better, and that's like the fun part of it. My mom and dad are very supportive. Like they always told me that like you can do it. They let me choose my path. I played a tournament in West Palm Beach, and one of the coaches from IMG went to watch me play, so I came to visit at IMG. I was like, oh wow. This is a very tough decision because we're gonna be like 1,000 miles away from each other, but if we focus on the future, it's like we have more opportunity here, and I decided to come to IMG. Moving here is very difficult because the culture are different. Everyone speaks like different languages. But then I met a girl across the hallway, and she became my roommate on the 2nd and 3rd year. She's very nice, and she like brought me out of the room so I get to see more friends, so I get to use more English. It's kind of hard like processing, like when you say something, everything in Thai and try to translate and talk back. But now it's kind of like, okay, you say it and talk back. When I was in 7th grade, my goal when they play a tournament, like junior tournament in the US, so that more colleges get to see me and get like scholarship to the college. That was like the future back then. Anika Invitational is one of the biggest tournaments in the US. I was very happy. That's like the best round I ever shot before, 65. That's my first win of AJDA event too, so beyond my dream. Mom and dad always told me to do my best and be patient on what I'm doing, just stick on the progress, and one day it will be my day, and it's like happened.
We rise every morning with the promise of today, waking our tired muscles, focusing our restless minds. The echoes of those before us ring across the courts, blow across these fields. This is our sanctuary, a place where legends are made, where we rise up to every challenge, learn from every fall, step out of the comfort zone. Because the only comfort we know is filled with sweat and the scent of victory. Today, like every other, we press on, pushing the limits, defining what it means to be competitive. We'll let you in on a little secret. We can never reach our potential. Then what? We're done? No. What may be our limit today will be surpassed tomorrow, again and again and again. And when our body needs rest, we service the mind, the engine that helps us outsmart, outplay, outlast. Innovation gives us that edge. Vision charts a course for our future. It's not about chasing dreams or some imaginary sense of control. The only control we really have is how hard we try to learn, to persevere, to win. True champions are as competitive in the classroom as they are on the field or court, and they'll pursue a worthy cause with as much heart as they leave in the arena, because they know service strengthens more than the spirit. The difference between good and great comes down to 1/10 of a second, unwavering focus, or endless endurance. Well, that's what we're all about. That's why we rise every morning knowing there are no limits to greatness. Limits are speed signs, not leaders, not champions, not us. We are students. We are athletes. We are leaders. We are IMG.
Greetings, everybody, and thank you for joining us. On the show, we'll be discussing today's youth.
This is a generation that's been completely spoiled.
They don't want to work hard, but they really, really, really want to succeed. Slackers.
I mean, let's just get down to brass tacks.
They have no discipline, no work ethic whatsoever.
They think they're so great at everything.
He pushes these. Strong legs, one more.
I mean, they just need to wake up.
They're stuck with phones in front of their faces. You know when I started working? When I was 13 years old. You won't see that today.
They all think it's Friday. I can't work today.
They're lazy and entitled and
Unmotivated, selfish,
crabby.
And welcome back to IMG Academy Stadium, getting ready for the second half to kick off. Right now, the Ascenders leading by a score of 27-14 over the visiting Carroll City Chiefs. Ryan Sudol alongside my broadcast partner, Jonathan Torres. And John, what a way to end the half. We had the touchdown from the fake punt that went for 49 yards on the pass from Aiden Swanson. And then on the very last play, the last second, Arthur Sikowski puts it on Jalen Jordan's numbers.
Well, it took the first quarter, really, I think, for IMG to finally find its groove. The first quarter really rough for them. Couldn't get a rhythm going. Lots of mistakes. They're seemingly still having issues at the center position, but they're managing to work around that. And second quarter, you could slowly see them start to find that groove, that rhythm, that execution that IMG Academy is known for.
And I want to thank everybody for participating on both the YouTube and the Facebook live feeds, and just having a chance to read through some of the comments. We had talked about the difficulty of IMG's schedule, and a lot of people from the Miami area talking about how schools like Booker T, Miami Central, Miami Northwestern, two of which are teams that IMG are going to play this year, also play some tough national schedules. But the amount of travel that IMG does compared to basically every school in the country as far as playing, again, Chandler this year, Hoover, who used to have the TV show about them in Alabama, and just so many different schools, and traveling to Utah is just, there's no doubt it's the toughest schedule in the country.
Well, we saw the math done last season where they added up the mileage that this team puts on during its regular season, and it was even far and above even NFL teams, which gives you an idea of not only the distance they travel, but the demand that puts on your body and on your psyche, to have to deal with all those conditions.
And also next week we'll get our first taste of the IMG second team, the white team. Again, they have split the varsity squad into two. The blue team is playing the tough national schedule, whereas the white team is going to be playing some of the smaller division powerhouses, both locally and just in the state of Florida. So that will be against Nature Coast next Friday. We'll have the white team here. And again, next Saturday, before the big McGregor-Mayweather fight, you'll get to see IMG on ESPN taking on Chandler out of Arizona, also one of the top teams in the country. So
I'd be willing to put money that this football game will be more exciting than that fight. I don't know. I have a feeling that fight's not going to go very long.
And now Radley Hiles and Trey Sanders back. Sanders feels it at the 6. Finds some space to the left, cuts through, tries to keep his balance, falls forward just across the 33. And a nice return for Trey Sanders as the starters for IMG still staying in that groove.
I believe it's the first run for Sanders this game, but you're seeing a lot of great speed there coming off, especially, right after halftime. You think they need maybe a little more time to get up to speed. No, that was a great run there. Put him in a great position.
And now we have Sikowski on the field. 11 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Jalen Jordan scoring that last touchdown, and also Brian Hightower, and will be one of Arthur Sikowski's wide receivers. He awaits down the near side. And they look for Noah Kane, who skirts his way through, gets up the 40. We saw him in the spring game averaging close to 12, 13 yards to carry against East Ridge. Some of those holes that were able to be opened up by Daniel Falele and Evan Neal haven't totally been there tonight, but still 6 yards a clip.
Well, we've seen the even matchup here has been down the middle. We've seen both sides be really strong down the middle when it comes to either one being on offense or defense. It's once you start to open that field up, and starting to get the ball thrown around, where you start to see really IMG being the more dominant team in the passing game.
3rd and 3 after that little miss to TJ Pledger, and you could hear the city coaching staff kind of erupt. It looked like it bounced out of TJ Pledger's hands and almost intercepted.
And that's, honestly, that's been the biggest threat, I think, to IMG this game. This Carroll City team, very vigilant, very responsive, very aware of what's happening around them.
Now fake to Kane, and Sikowski goes down, and he takes the slide, and seems to be getting up just fine, but he gets the first down and a few more.
Well, he's got to be careful. He's been running the ball quite a bit this game. It's a preseason game, and also he's taken a couple, or at least a